Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we're here today with the weapon guide on the AN-94. This weapon is the latest weapon in 2042. It was basically a vault weapon that is now a part of the all-out warfare. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the AN-94. I know I've been just a little bit late to the party when it comes to the attachment guide and generally the weapon guide for the AN-94 because it's been out there for a while. You know, the leaks for the next Battlefield game were all over the place and I had no choice but to cover them all. So now that the things are just a little bit settled, we are getting back to the routine of covering things about 2042 as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at the stats. We're going to take a look at the best classes to play the weapon with. We've got attachments here. We're going to talk about the hyperburst, and there's also a glitch with the AN-94 that I'm pretty sure some of you don't even know about, but it's been my experience, my friend's experience, and we're going to talk about all of that in this video. So without further ado, guys, let's just go ahead and see what we've got about the AN-94. So the AN-94 itself, in my opinion, is not a decent weapon at almost any given range. Now, you might seem surprised to hear this, like out of the blue, but it's been my experience. I know this weapon sucks at almost any given range, except for probably a specific range frame that we're going to talk about. But in my opinion, in close range, this weapon cannot compete with other assault rifles. In medium range, this weapon cannot compete with other assault rifles. And even in long range, there are better options. So what is this weapon good for? That's a very good question. Well, this weapon has 3 firing modes. You've got the hyperburst, which we're going to talk about. We've got the full auto, which I don't really recommend you playing at all. And we've got the single fire, which might come in handy in some longer ranges. But basically putting this weapon on full auto gives you the feeling of firing with the AK-24. So we're here today comparing the stats of the AK-24 with the AN-94 to see why the AN-94 actually feels so awkward and isn't really the weapon that you want to make your primary assault rifle, right? So this is the stats for the AN-94. By the way, the credit for all the stats goes to Sorrow. He made a great spreadsheet basically comparing every single weapon, giving us all the exact amounts for the damage numbers, bullet drops, TTK, like everything you want from a integrated in-game stat system that has never been a part of Battlefield ever, in my opinion, is there. I'll put the link down in the description. You can go ahead and check every weapon that you want. But this is the stats for the AN-94. Taking a look at it, it starts great, like 25 damage in under 20 meters. But as you can see, it drops significantly fast. Like, just look at this, 23 damage in under 30 meters, and then between 30 meters to 50 meters, it's 21 damage, and it drops significantly. And at the end, you've got 16 damage in above 100 meters. Now, I'm going to put it here so you can compare this with the AK-24. Now, this is the stats for the AK-24. As you can see, you've got 26 damage in under 10 meters, but from 10 meters to 75 meters, we've got 22 damage. And above 75 meters, we've got a consistent number of 18 damage, right? Every single bullet that you shoot above 75 meters will deal 18 damage, no more, no less. So comparing these two and considering the fact that the AK-24 is in fact a medium to long range weapon, it's not ideal for close range. These numbers on the AK-24 are great. Same goes for the SCAR, same goes for the AK-5C. If you compare this weapon to those weapons, you'll immediately see the difference. So that's long range taken care of. But what about close range? Well, this weapon's full auto is just crazy bad. It's ridiculous how bad it is because the fire rate is, I don't know, ridiculously low. It's something like 600, maybe even lower than that, but it's somewhere along those lines, right? So the best firing mode you can play this weapon with is the burst fire. Now, this weapon is not your typical burst fire like you basically know from all these Battlefield games, or something like the AC-42, which fires 3 rounds in every burst. That's not the case with the AN-94. AN-94 in real world is a very interesting weapon. It's a unique weapon. It's one of a kind, to be honest. There are a few videos there on the internet, but the Grand Thumb video on it is impressive in my opinion. You can go ahead and watch that video to get a perspective on how good this weapon actually is in real life. And that hyper burst thing is like incredible. But in 2042, it just doesn't work good. Honestly, you're going to feel it. You have to play this thing to feel this, right? You may be watching me getting kills with it and feeling like, well, this weapon's on point. Why is he complaining? You guys better play this thing, and I'm pretty sure you're going to feel this, right? The hyper burst is not working as it's supposed to work. So as the name goes, it's a hyperburst. It's supposed to have a really fast firing rate, but the weapon just doesn't deliver that. It's a 2-shot burst, so every time you shoot, 2 rounds are coming out from the barrel, and that as a cycle repeats until you run out of ammo, you have to reload, right? That's going to be the hyperburst that we know. It has to be very fast, but it's not really consistent in 2042 to the point where it's going to feel like sometimes the weapon is incredibly strong in close range. Like you shred people, someone jumps in front of you, you're going to just shred them like it's the K30, it's the AC-9, something like that. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes people jump in front of you and it's like the weapon's jammed or it's not functioning as it's supposed to function. You know what I'm saying? Something like that happens most of the times with the AN-94. So you don't really know when it's going to kick in, when that hyperburst is going to work correctly, and when it's not going to work correctly. So that's about the close range. Not consistent at all. So in what range can you play this weapon comfortably? Based on my own experience and taking a look back at these stats, in my opinion, under 30 meters, from like 10 meters to 30 meters, that 20 meter is the perfect range for being able to get some comfortable kills with the AN-94. Anything above that range is gonna feel awkward compared to almost any given assault rifle, and anything below that will not be competitive at all. Like you can't kill people who are holding even AK-24s, which are not really made for like close quarter combat. So that's about the weapon. In my opinion, they did a ridiculous job implementing this weapon from Portal to All Out Warfare. Things could have been done very smoother, but they just released something just for the sake of releasing it, which is most of the times the problem with DICE and the stuff they do. All right, so let's take a look at the attachments now, because it's going to be very interesting even in the attachments section. This weapon was supposed to have some attachments to make it viable, but even that was a lie in my opinion. First of all, for muzzle, you have all these options, which in my opinion are pretty much useless. Well, nobody uses the 6K suppressor because it decreases the damage. The damage is already low. The damage drop off is ridiculously all over the place. You can't really trust this weapon even without decreasing its damage, let alone using like the 6KU suppressor to even decrease that damage per distance more. So forget about that. If you want to use a suppressor, the best thing you can do is having the wrap suppressor. My opinion, most of the times it's better to have the wrap suppressor on, but if you don't really like to do that, in my opinion, having the champion muzzle brake is the better option for you here, because that hyperburst is going to make a lot of vertical recoil, and to decrease that vertical recoil, the best option you have is the champion muzzle brake. It's going to do exactly that. And I don't really recommend using the heavy barrel. I don't really recommend using the full auto. These two are completely banned in my opinion for this weapon, because, well, first of all, the full auto is just trash. The recoil is literally uncontrollable. The fire rate is ridiculously low to the point where you basically can't ignore it. Like there are some weapons with low fire rates that you can ignore for some better reason. Like the Scar has a very low fire rate, but the damage compensates for that, you know? If you lose that fire rate on this weapon, there's nothing to compensate for it, and you've lost everything. So just forget about it, okay? Going to the underbarrels, in my opinion, this weapon needs some sort of hipfire accuracy, and you better count on that, because that is the best thing you can do to make this weapon just a little bit better in close range. As someone who plays assault rifles, you will definitely run into people who are using SMGs, who are using better assault rifles in close range compared to yours. And what you want to have is some sort of hipfire accuracy on this weapon. And believe me, it's going to make a lot of difference, especially on the AN-94. So go ahead and use the LS1 laser sight as your first option. My second option here is the GP30 buckshot, which for those close ranges, it's going to probably get you a kill. The reload time is, it's gonna make you sick, but it's better than nothing. Sometimes switching to it, get a kill, is better than nothing. And finally, the GP30 high explosive is gonna be the other option for extra firepower. So taking a look at the ammo options, there's something very interesting going on here. So not only you don't have a 40 round magazine, which is literally just the norm for assault rifles in 2042, but you don't even have an extra magazine to use when you run out of ammo. This is just fucking ridiculous, if you ask me, to be honest. And it holds this weapon back so much. Like, it's ridiculous how sometimes you lose gunfights to people racking up some like PP29 60 round per mag, K30s, even like normal assault rifles. Every single assault rifle, almost every single assault rifle in this game has a 40 round magazine. Like the AK-24 has a 50 round drum mag. and this one has only 30 rounds per mag. I'm going to come back to this, but just taking a look at the sights for this, I'm really okay with using the Cobra sight. Some people don't like it. You can use the KA's Hollow as well. And for a higher magnification scope, the PKA 3.4X is, in my opinion, a very clean and spot on scope to use. And that's going to be it for the setup. It should be looking something like this. But going back to that 30 round magazine, that makes me want to give you an advice here. Okay, based on my experience with the AN-94, you're going to run out of ammo a lot quicker than you think. Well, obviously you don't have any option. You can't switch mags. So when you run out of ammo, that's going to be it. There's nothing you can do, right? But there are things you can do actually. So there are two classes that I mainly recommend you playing when you play the AN-94. First of all, because of a weapon proficiency for the Assault class, you guys might not know about this, but the Assault class has a weapon proficiency which gives you 3 extra magazines for assault rifles. So if you want to use the AN-94, since you don't have any extra magazine options, best you can do is playing Assault class. Like, this is one of the things that you can do to kind of have some more extra magazines with you and don't run out of ammo that quickly, right? So playing Assault is one of the ways, and you can also play support and have some sort of, you know, ammo crate with you, or like the ammo pouch. That's one of the things you can do. In my opinion, works great. But just generally speaking, don't try engineer and recon with the AN-94. You're gonna run out of ammo, and you're gonna feel that very quickly unless you have someone in your squad that you're very well connected with and you can like communicate. They can provide you some ammo, stuff like that, then it's fine. But if you play alone, or if you play with some squad that you don't really know, you can't communicate with, playing support and assault will give you the edge when it comes to the AN-94. And the last thing about the AN-94 is the glitch that is going on right now in 2042. I don't really know if you have ever noticed this, but when people shoot you with the AN-94, it feels like you don't really feel being shot until you're dead. You know, it's hard to explain, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen to you. If you ever have been shot by an AN-94, it feels like you don't really get any tracers. It's like you don't even know you're being shot at first, and second, you don't even know where you're being shot at, even if you recognize that someone's shooting you, until you're dead. And if that hyperburst is working correctly for your enemy, which is your bad luck basically, then you're gonna die very quickly without even knowing who's hitting you, from where are you being hit. And this is very sad, to be honest, because this whole weapon is a joke. Honestly, it's one of the worst assault rifles out there. You know, at least something like the AC-42 has some sort of long-range capabilities when it comes to like single fire. It can be very strong, even stronger than some of the DMRs in the game, but this weapon's recoil on single fire even makes it worse compared to something like the hyperburst for long range shooting, you know. And when you have something like this, the weapon is a joke itself. It's very odd to have some sort of glitch like that. Like, people shoot you and you don't even know you're being shot at until you're dead. So I just hope they fix it pretty soon, because this is very annoying in the game. I have a friend who's probably watching this video as well, and he just hates it when it happens. And I'm pretty sure this is going to piss a lot of people, especially when you can do something, because the weapon is a very mediocre, below average, I would say. And if you know you're being shot at, you probably can do something. You can at least take cover, but you're suddenly dead without even knowing. So I hope you guys enjoyed and hope this video was helpful. I'm just sorry this video was a little bit late out in the market, but you know, these Battlefield 6 leaks were all over the place. We had to cover them because they probably matter more to the community right now compared to the like broken AN-94. Thank you all guys for watching, and until next time guys, stay cool.